C.
In the beginning, one group cried and shouted for centralized national government, aka big supporters of governmental power, the other proclaiming given governmental power equals loss of liberty. First was Federalist, the other was Anti-Federalist. They all agreed to sit down and give up power to the national government. Perfect, that explains the process of ratification, but what about a more perfect union? Now, the United States was not always united at the start. See, as if it wasn't the association of homies, separate countries, states, acting separately, not together. They got rid of the Articles of Confederation, making a legitimate constitution called the Constitution. Now that's the Constitution. But what about each and every amendment 1 through 10? I bet you couldn't explain that to me. You fool. While there are 10 as the main, there are 27 pages of old. Research and read up if you dare. Now, the 10 amendments, here you go. The first is the right to religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. Second, ability to bear arms. Third, the right to refuse soldiers into the house of yours. Fourth, responsible search and seizure. Fifth, grand jury and the right to dodge double jeopardy with avoidance to self-incrimination and due process included. 6, rights of the accused in a criminal prosecution's rights to jury trial, to confront opposing witnesses and counsel. 7th is jury trial. 8th, no excessive or uncool punishments of any kind. 9th, rights not listed here are supported within the Constitution right here. 10th, powers reserved to the states. Again, there are 27 states' responsibilities are, but are not limited to, ownership of property, education of inhabitants, implementation of welfare and its benefits, protecting peoples from threats, maintaining the justice system, setting up counties and municipalities, establishing and finessing their own highway systems, regulation of what? The industry, yes. Mandates keep the state's gates straight, so yes, they have the right to keep the due dates, estate, and tax rates on an even plate. While the federal can't do that, but they can do this. Maintain the military as previously mentioned, levy taxes as they please, regulate commerce in each and every state, and I mean each and every state, make up federal courts but not above the supreme zone, but most importantly, they can't give out fines but they can give out war. To ensure and to keep organization, not all powers are represented unequally, to ensure separation of powers and to avoid all and within corruption of governmental powers. Ain't no monarchy here. That each branch handles its own responsibilities related to that branch. They all relate to the law, however, legislative makes them, executive approves them, and judicial, evaluates them? Binoculars. We would need a magnification on how they provide for common defense and general welfare. They provide common defense by taxes, funding, and budget initiatives for the United States military and its programs. Now, they get money to uphold the United States liberties and to defend itself and its freedoms. General welfare, while not founded by the government entirely, aka being socialist, rather, that capitalism in the United States will be aided by social programs like Social Security, safety nets, and post offices. In short summary, all are aided by taxes, so don't be a square snitch, goblin, tax evader. Thou slanderous salamanders will be locked up by the IRS demanders. Taxes play a vital and important role in our society. All and every bit of our taxes go to the general welfare by firefighters, police departments, and libraries of old, of new, and age. Of every coming tale will be read in the books of library with your taxpayer monies. Now, it could go into more frivolous and stupid programs, but for the most part, taxes are needed in our society, so please pay your taxes. Articles 6 to 7 didn't talk about them. Supremacy clause is basically a clause of a pause in the law that says when the state's laws is in conflict with federal law, the federal law is most to prevail. States have powers, but it shall never ever triumph federal law. Oh, Article 7? Okay. This article declares that all constitutional and values within this paper, we the people, shall become the official law, ratifying through the states of all, from Arizona to Alaska that it is truth. Popular sovereignty, a concept before the Civil War and 13th Amendment, yes. Now, it allowed territories in the United States to choose before they entered the Union that if they were going to be free or a slave state. Obviously, this was before the 13th Amendment, which outlawed slavery, and before Civil War. Yeah. Federalism, it's a grand concept, but it's very simple too. It's just one government under a single system. A single system. Separation of power. We already discussed this many times before, but I'ma say it once more. Just like the three branches of government, it prohibits people from getting all the power. And for organization's sake, they just handle one thing and one concept. But more importantly, overall, separation of power includes this fact. It prohibits corruption, just like checks and balances, but even more so that no one, if there's one bad man and one bad seed and one bad apple under the government's tree, that they only affect one thing, and they'll still be handled by checks and balances. How? Well, let's discuss that. Separation of powers improves that. It's just like this, they may have one pawn, but they will never ever grasp the whole chessboard. They only got a pawn, not a whole chessboard. Checks and balances go after a corrupt individual or individuals. They're only given limited power to start off, one. And two, if they're being corrupt in any other way, they could be evaluated and even kicked out of the office by a vote. Like the president could be impeached and further removed from office if he is found guilty. Although this has never happened, never. I'ma list the names real quick. The only three to ever be really impeached: Donald Trump twice, Andrew Johnson once, and Bill Clinton once. So for further warning to any other future president in the future, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Even though no one has ever been removed by impeachment process yet, you could be the first one and embarrass yourself in front of the whole world. And I wanna set the record straight. Judicial review is only ever done by the Supreme Court. They review a law they deem a sketch. They review it under a microscope, binoculars, and they rewrite it to what they think is right with the Constitution. I say what they think is right with the Constitution. They write it down, they say it's okay now. Now, before you win, it was given to us. It was corrupt, but we fixed it up, and now it's good. A very notable example of this is Brown versus the Board of Education. They knew amendments' rights were violated, right? So they set the record straight again, like I've been saying since the very beginning of this rap. And they made things correct. I said they made it all good and correct. How did they establish justice? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. The first thing that they do is protect underrepresented groups, ensuring that the government is held accountable, guaranteeing equity and equality, and most importantly, being the overbearing protector, human shield of human rights. Now, they have succeeded in all of those four, so that's how they establish justice in the government, and that's how they establish justice. Limited government is the idea that government should be limited in the powers that it has, that the people and states should have a little bit more, but more importantly overall, that the government shouldn't be so fat and big. They should have limited powers against the people and against the states, but more importantly in the role of the nation. I said the role of the nation. Individual freedom is guaranteed by the Constitution, but more importantly overall, that it's your guaranteed right on your destiny in life, how you want to live in it. More importantly overall, you have the choice in how you want to live in the great nation of the US of A. Now, just as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, you could do whatever you want, what you deem is right, what you deem as your destiny.
We ensure the blessings of the United States. It's already been covered and locked up by the U.S. Constitution. It's just the citizens' job to preserve it to the best of their ability, but to not take our freedoms for granted. Also, we ensure domestic tranquility by keeping peace at America's borders, providing for common defense as previously mentioned. Keep the state safe from threats of foreign nations and abroad. But most importantly, make our country stable to the best of our ability.